The Divine Comedy. Inferno. Canto IV. The first circle, Limbo. Virtuous pagans and the unbaptized. The four poets, Homer, Horace, Ovid, and Lucan. And the noble castle of philosophy. Broke the deep lethargy within my head, a heavy thunder, so that I upstarted, like to a person who is by force awakened. And round about I moved my rested eyes, uprisen erect, and steadfastly I gazed, to recognize the place wherein I was. True is it, that upon the verge I found me of the abysmal valley dolorous, that gathers thunder of infinite undulations. Obscure, profound it was, and nebulous, so that by fixing on its depths my sight, nothing whatever I discerned therein. Let us now descend into the blind world, began the poet, pallid utterly. I will be the first, and thou shalt be second. And I, whom of his colour was aware, said, How shall I come if thou art afraid? How art wont to be a comfort to my fears? And he to me, The anguish of the people who are below here in my face depicts, that pity which for terror thou hast taken. Let us go on, for the long way impels us. Thus he went in, and thus he made me enter, the foremost circle that surrounds the abyss. There, as it seemed to me from listening, were lamentations none, but only sighs, that tremble made the everlasting air. And this arose from sorrow without torment, which the crowds had, that many were and great, of infants, and of women, and of men. To me the master good, Thou dost not ask what spirit these, which thou beheldest, are. Now I will have thee know, ere they go farther, that they sinned not, and if they merit had, 'tis not enough, because they had not baptism, which is the portal of the faith thou holdest. And if there were before Christianity, in the right manner they adorned not God, and among such as these am I myself. For such defects, and not for other guilt, lost are we, and are only so far punished, that without hope we live on in desire. Great grief seized upon my heart when this I heard, because some people of much worthiness I knew, who in that limbo were suspended. Tell me, my master, tell me, thou my lord, began I, with desire of being certain of the faith which overcometh every error. Came any one by his own merit hence, or by another's who was blessed thereafter? And he, who understood my covert speech, replied, I was a novice in this state, when I saw hither come a mighty one, with sign of victory incoronate. Hence he drew forth the shade of the first parent, and that of his son Abel, and of Noah, of Moses the lawgiver, and the obedient Abraham, patriarch, and David, king, Israel with his father and his children, and Rachel, for whose sake he did so much, and many others, and he made them blessed. And thou must know that earlier than these never were any human spirits saved. We ceased not to advance because he spake, but still were passing onward through the forest. The forest, I say, of thick, crowded ghosts. Not very far as yet our way had gone, this side of the summit, when I saw a fire that overcame a hemisphere of darkness. We were a little distance from it still, but not so far that I in part discerned not that honorable people held that place. Oh, thou who honourest every art and science, whom may these be, which such great honour have, that from the fashion of the rest it parts them? And he to me, the honourable name, that sounds of them above there in thy life, wins grace in heaven, that so advances them. In the meantime, a voice was heard by me. All honour be to the preeminent poet, his shade returns again that was departed. After the voice had ceased and quiet was, 4 mighty shades I saw approaching us. Semblance had they nor sorrowful nor glad. To say to me began my gracious master, him with the falchion in his hand behold, who comes before the 3, even as their lord. That one is Homer, poet sovereign. He who comes next is Horace, the satirist. The third is Ovid, and the last is Lucan. Because to each of these with me applies the name that celerity voice proclaimed. They do me honour, and in that do well. Thus I beheld assemble the fair school of that lord of the song preeminent, who over the others like an eagle soars. When they together had discoursed somewhat, they turned to me with signs of salutation, and on beholding this my master smiled. And more of honour still, much more they did me, in that they made me one of their own band, so that the 6th was I, mid so much wit. Thus we went on as far as to the light, things saying 'tis becoming to keep silent, as was the saying of them where I was. We came unto the noble castle's foot, 7 times encompassed with lofty walls, defended round by a fair rivulet. This we passed over, even as firm ground. Through portal 7 I entered with these sages, where came into a meadow of fresh verdure. People were there, with solemn eyes and slow, of great authority in their countenance. They spake but seldom, and with gentle voices. Thus we withdrew ourselves upon one side, into an opening luminous and lofty, so that they, all of them, were visible. There opposite upon the green enamel were pointed out to me the mighty spirits, whom to have seen I felt myself exalted. I saw Electra with companions many, mongst whom I knew both Hector and Aeneas, Caesar in armour with gerfalcon eyes. I saw Camelia and Penthesilea on the other side, and I saw the king Latinus, who with Lavinia his daughter sat. I saw that Brutus who drove Tarquin forth, Lucretia, Julia, Maricia, and Cornelia, and saw alone apart the Saladine. When I had lifted my brows up a little, the master I beheld of those who knew sit with his philosophic family. All gaze upon him, and all do him honour. There I beheld both Socrates and Plato, who nearer him before the others stand. Democritus, who puts the world on chance, Diogenes, Anaxagoras, and Thales, Zeno, Empedocles, and Heraclitus. Of qualities I saw the good Collector, hight Dioscorides, and Orpheus saw I, Tully, and Livy, and moral Seneca. Euclid, geometrician, and Ptolemy, Galen, Hippocrates, Avaciana, Avarius, who with the great comment made. I cannot all of them portray in full, because so drives me onward the long theme, that many times the word comes short of fact. The sixfold company in two divides. Another way my sapient guide conducts me, forth from the quiet to the air that trembles, and to a place where I come, where nothing shines. Canto V. The Second Circle. The Wanton, Minos, the Infernal Hurricane, and Francesca de Rimini. Thus I descended out of the first circle, down to the second, that less space begirds, and so much greater dole than goads to wailing. There standeth Minos, horribly, and snarls, examines the transgressions at the entrance, judges and sends according as he girds him. I say that when the spirit evil-born cometh before him, wholly confesses, and this discriminator of transgressions seeth what place in hell is met for it, girds himself with his tail, as many times as grades he wishes it should be thrust down. Always before him many of them stand. They go by turns, each one unto the judgment. They speak and hear, and they are downward hurled. O thou, that to this dolorous hostelry comest, said Minos to me when he saw me, leaving the practice of so great an office. Look how thou enterest, and in whom thou trustest. Let not the portal's amplitude deceive thee. And unto him my guide, why criest thou too? Do not impede his journey fate ordained. It is so willed, there where is power to do that which is willed, and ask no further questions. And now began the dulcet notes to grow, audible unto me. Now am I come, there where much lamentation strikes upon me. I came into a place muted of all light, which bellows as the sea does in a tempest, if by opposing winds 'tis combated. The infernal hurricane that never rest hurtles the spirits onward into its rapine, whirling them round and smiting it molests them. When they arrive before the precipice, there are shrieks, the plaints, and the laments. There they blaspheme the puissance divine. I understood that unto such a torment the carnal malefactors were condemned, who reason subjugate to appetite. And as the wings of starlings bear them on, in the cold season in large band and full, so doth that blast the spirits maledict. It hither, thither, downward, upward drives them. No hope doth comfort them for evermore, not of repose, but even of lesser pain. And as the cranes go chanting forth their lays, making in air a long line of themselves, so saw I coming, uttering lamentations. Shadows, borne onward by the aforesaid stress, whereupon I said, Master, who are those? Who are those people whom the black air so castigates? The first of those whose intelligence thou fain wouldst have. Then said he unto me, The Empress was of many languages. To sensual vices she was so abandoned, that lustful she made licit in her law to remove the blame to which she had been led. She is Ceremonius, of whom we read that she succumbed to Ninus, and was his spouse. She held the land now the Sultan rules. The next is she who killed herself for love, and broke the faith with the ashes of Sychius, then Cleopatra, the voluptuous. Helen I saw, for whom so many ruthless seasons revolved, and the great Achilles, whom at the last hour combated with love. Paris I saw, Tristan, and more than 1,000 shades did he name and point with his finger, whom love had separated from our life. After that I had listened to my teacher, naming the dames of eld and cavaliers pity prevailed, and I was nigh bewildered. And I began, O poet, willingly speak would I to those two, who go together, and seem upon the wind to be so light. And he to me, Thou wilt mark when they shall be nearer to us, and then do thou implore them by love which leadeth them, and they will come. So as the wind in our direction sways them, my voice uplift, I, O ye weary souls, come speak to us, if no one interdicts it. As turtle doves called onward by desire, with open and steady wings to the sweet nest, fly through the air by their volition borne, so came they from the band where Dido is, approaching us athwart the air malign. So strong was the affectionate appeal. O living creature, gracious and benignant, who visiting goest through the purple air us, who have stained the world in Cardine, if were the King of the universe our friend, we would pray unto him to give thee peace, since thou hast pity on our woeful perverse. Of what it pleases thee to hear and speak, thou wilt we hear, and we will speak to you, while silent is the wind, as it is now. Sitteth the city wherein I was born, upon the seashore where the Po descends, to rest in peace with all his retinue. Love that on gentle heart doth swiftly seize this man for the person beautiful that was taken from me, and still the mode offends me. Love that exempts no one beloved from loving, seized me with pleasure of this man so strongly, that as thou seest, it doth not yet desert me. Love has conducted us unto one death. Cana waiteth him who quenched our life. These words were borne along from them to us. As soon as I heard those souls tormented, I bowed my face, and so long held it down. And the poet said to me, What thinkest? When answer I made, I began, Alas! How many pleasant thoughts, how much desire conducted these unto the dolorous pass! And then unto them I turned me, and I spake, and I began, Thine agonies, Francesca, sad and compassionate to weeping make me. But tell me, at the time of those sweet sighs, by what and in what manner love conceded, that you should know your dubious desires? And she to me, There is no greater sorrow than to be mindful of the happy time in misery that thy teacher knows. But if to recognize the earliest root of love in us thou hast so great desire, I will do even as he who weeps and speaks. One day we reading where for our delight of Lancelot, how love did him enthrall. Alone we were, and without any fear. Full many time our eyes together drew, that reading and drove the colour from our faces. But one point only was it that overcame us. When, as we read of the much longed for smile, being by such noble lover kissed, this one, who never from me shall be divided, kissed me upon the mouth all palpitating. Galeotto was the book, and he who wrote it. That day no farther did we read therein. And all the while one spirit uttered this, the other one did weep, so that for pity I swooned away as if I'd been dying, and fell even as a dead body falls. Canto VI, the third circle. The gluttonous, Cerberus, the eternal rain, Chaco, and Florence. At the return of consciousness that closed before the pity of those two relations which utterly with sadness had confused me, new torments I beheld, and new tormented around me, whichsoever way I moved, and whichsoever way I turned and gazed. In the third circle am I of the rain, eternal, maledict, and cold and heavy. Its law and quality are never new. Huge hail and water sombre-hued and snow athwart the tenebrous air pour down amain. Noisome the earth is that receiveth this. Cerberus, monster cruel and uncouth, with his three gullets like a dog is barking over the people that there submerged. Red eyes has he, an unctuous beard and black and large belly, and armed with claws his hands. He rends the spirits, flays and quarters them. Howl the rain maketh them like unto dogs. One side they make a shelter for the other, oft turn themselves the wretched reprobates. When Cerberus perceived us, the great worm, his mouths he opened, and displayed his tusks. Not a limb had he that was motionless. And my conductor, with his spans extended, took of the earth, and with his fist well filled, he threw it unto the rapacious gullets. Such as that dog is, who by barking craves, and quiet grows soon as his food he gnaws. For to devour it he but thinks and struggles. The like became the muzzle's filth begrimed of Cerberus the demon, whom so thunders over the souls that they would fain be deaf. We passed across the shadows, which subdues the heavy rainstorm, and we placed our feet upon the vanity that person seems. They were all lying prone upon the earth, excepting one, who sat upright as soon as he beheld us passing before him. "Oh, thou art conducted through this hell," he said to me. "Recall me if thou canst. Thyself wast made before I was unmade." And I to him, "The anguish which thou hast perhaps doth drawn thee out of my remembrance, so that it seems not that I have seen thee. But tell me who thou art that in so doleful a place art put, and in such punishment." If some are greater, none is so displeasing. And he to me, thy city which is full of envy, so that now the sack runs over, held me within the life serene. You citizens were wont to call me charcoal, for the precocious sin of gluttony I, how thou seest, am battered by the rain. And I, sad soul, am not the only one, for all these suffer the like penalty for the like sin. And word no more spake he. I answered him, Charco, thy wretchedness weighs on me, so that it to weep invites me. But tell me, if thou knowest, to what shall come the citizens of the divided city, if any there be just, and the occasion tell me, why so much discord has assailed it. And he to me, they, after long contention, will come to bloodshed, and the rustic party will drive the other out of with much offence. Then afterwards behooves it this one fall within 3 suns, and rise again the other, by force of him who now is on the coast. High will it hold its forehead for a long while, keeping the other under heavy burdens. Whoever it weeps thereat it is indignant. The just are two, and are not understood there. Envy, and arrogance, and avarice are the 3 sparks that have all hearts enkindled. Here ended his tearful utterance, and I to him, I wish thee still to teach me, and make a gift to me of further speech. Vernata and Tiago, once so worthy, Jacopo, Rostuccio, Arrigo, and Mosca, and others whom on good deeds set their thoughts, say where they are, and cause that I may know them. For great desire constraineth me to learn if heaven doth sweeten them, or hell envenom. And he, there are many among the blacker souls, and a different sin downweighs them to the bottom. If thou so far descendeth, thou canst see them. But when thou art again in the sweet world, I pray thee to mind of others bring me. No more I tell thee, and no more I answer. Then his straightforward eyes he turned askance, eyed me a little, and then he bowed his head. He fell, therewith prone like the other blind. And the guide said to me, he wakens no more. This side the sound of the angelic trumpet, when shall approach the hostile potentate, each one shall find again his dismal tomb, shall reassure his flesh and his own figure, shall hear what through eternity re-echoes. So we passed onward over the filthy mixture of shadows and of rain with footsteps slow, touching a little on the future life. Wherefore I said, Master, these torments here, will they increase after the mighty sentence, or lesser be, or will they be as burning? And he to me, return unto thy science, which wills that as the thing more perfect is, the more it feels of pleasure and of pain. Albeit that this people maledect to true perfection never can attain, hereafter more than now they look to be. Round in a circle, by that road we went, speaking much more, which I do not repeat. We came unto the point where the descent is. There we found Plutus, the great enemy. Hello everybody, it is the right hand of doom. I'm so sorry it's been so long since I've done a damn narration. I realized that one of my most popular uploads is actually Dante's Inferno, so I decided to go ahead and keep it up. Please leave a comment, share, subscribe, like it. Do something to let me know you really want more of this, or if you like it. And let me know what you'd like to see more of. Thus far, on Wednesdays you can see me. You can see me on my Twitch channel. You can also look up on Laughably Dapper on its own channel. We're not going to be putting anything up too early, but we do have 2 episodes if you'd like to go see that. And production is in full swing. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, sweet dreams and pleasant nightmares. I cannot describe to you how I feel right now. What I'm experiencing is so detached from the normal. I'm almost convinced I've finally gone insane.